Yo, day 60. Holy smokes. I can't believe I've done this for 60 days straight. Probably are sick of me by now, posting every day and think this guy has to be out of things to say. But not today, you guys. I got a little bit more to say. So today's talk is around do the boring work. If you can't win the boring days, you're never going to win the big ones. All right. This has been true in three areas of my life I can think of, and probably all the areas of my life, but anecdotally, three main areas of my life. The first one was music. When I first learned music, I used to see a lot of people that want to jump straight to, hey, I want to be a musician. I want to be on stage. I want to go do all those things. But they are not, once they learn what that means to learn an instrument, to learn how to sing, to learn to read music, to rehearse, to do all the stuff necessary, that seems like too much to them. And the people willing to show up and do all the boring work are the ones that are going to have that possibility. So, for example, in music, it probably requires 3, 4, 5+ hours a day in the beginning for a number of years to just build up all of the technique and fundamentals you need in order for that to kind of become ingrained so that you can call on that during a performance. So that's practicing scales, practicing arpeggios, long tones, all sorts of stuff is entailed in that. And that can be really monotonous, sometimes boring, and just something you go in and do the work every day. I need to go in and I need to work through my scales. I need to work through my technique patterns. I need to work on my sound and my embouchure and all of that stuff over and over. I still work on that to this day. And it's been, gosh, 30 years of playing. The second one would be cybersecurity. Everyone wants to jump right to be, how do I become a cybersecurity architect? And whether that's, defending the environment or a pen tester and I want to go hack things and just learn how they work. However you're doing that, it's hours and hours and hours and hours of discovery and learning and finding out all of those fundamental parts that some people are just not doing. They want to skip right to the last phase and they didn't do any of the boring days. And it's variable. When I say boring, a lot of that stuff was still kind of fun for me, but inevitably monotonous and just kind of the same thing. So when I mean boring, I mean, hey, I'm going to show up and do the same thing again and again and again in weeks, months, and years. We're going to do that same stuff. The core part of what we do in learning is going to be repeating that stuff over and over. In the gym, this is my third part that has also been very true. There's ways to mitigate this, but in weeks, some people will get bored, months, years, maybe longer. At some point, you're going to be going into the gym and doing very similar things over and over again. And a lot of people will get bored of this and kind of give up on getting into shape the way they want to, whether that's a weight loss or gaining muscle or whatever your thing is. Again, there's ways to mitigate this by mixing up the exercises, mixing up the routines, set variation, rep variation. There's lots of ways to make it novel. And we should do that to ensure that we keep some type of newness in there. But a bicep curl is a bicep curl. At the end of the day, we're going to go in there and we're going to get the work done because we know the outcome and we just get up and do the work. I don't remember exactly who said it, but I remember reading a book where there was a quote where they asked a famous coach who he thought was going to be successful and how he knew. And he said it was the athletes that showed up every day and did the boring stuff on cue every day. And I find that to be the same in the other areas of my life. There's work to do in order to master anything, in order to find success in the things you want to do. And a lot of that lies in the repeatable, we'll call it boring for now, repetitive tasks that we need to do to ensure we get the skills, that we maintain those skills, and if we want, we build on those skills. And there is no shortcut that I'm aware of. You can try. I've tried. Lots of people want to know, oh, how can I hack my way into that? How can I get a little ahead without having to do that? And I think what you do is you leave a bunch of gaps, and eventually you're going to have to pay the price for that. You're going to have to go back and relearn that stuff you missed in those gaps, whether that's music, whether that's cybersecurity, or whether that's the gym. I've learned that lesson too. And I also did all the boring stuff, but occasionally you will skip by some stuff and figure out what you need to go back and learn. So my 2 cents today on day 60 is make sure you go do the boring stuff. That is really the path for future you. And while today it might seem monotonous and hard to do, the future you will thank you for it. I'll see you guys later.